Every so often, history is shocked by killers whose methods defy our expectations. Today, we're counting down the top 10 infamous female serial killers, women who turned caregiving, faith, or simple opportunity into deadly craft. From nurses who mixed lethal doses to aristocrats accused of bathing in blood, these cases will chill you to the bone. Let's jump in. Number 10, Jane Toppan. Jane Toppan, born Honora Kelly in 1857 Boston, and adopted by the Toppans, trained as a nurse in the 1880s, and quickly earned the chilling nickname Angel of Mercy for her soothing bedside manner. Beneath that caring exterior, however, she harbored a deadly fascination with poison. Between 1885 and 1901, she confessed to administering fatal overdoses of morphine and atropine, at least 31 victims in all, often selecting elderly women and children for their vulnerability. Unlike typical killers, she wasn't after money. She admitted the convulsions and gasps of her patients were her true reward. Suspicion grew when a patient's daughter discovered irregular prescriptions signed in her mother's name, leading authorities to exhume multiple bodies. At her trial, Toppan pleaded insanity and was committed to Taunton Insane Hospital, where she spent 34 final years. Modern criminologists suggest she suffered from Munchausen by proxy, projecting deep psychological wounds onto her helpless charges. Her case spurred sweeping reforms in hospital record-keeping and drug dispensing in Massachusetts, and stands as a grim reminder of the catastrophic power a trusted caregiver can wield. Number 9, Belle Gunness. Born in Norway in 1859 and emigrating as a teenager, Belle Gunness reinvented herself on an Indiana farm by luring lonely suitors and boarders through personal ads. Once they arrived, she took out hefty life insurance policies in their names, then murdered them, sometimes her own children, for the payouts. From 1884 until the catastrophic farm fire of 1908, at least 14 victims are confirmed, though local lore suggests many more. In the blaze's aftermath, investigators unearthed 11 shallow graves and dozens of disfigured remains, some so badly burned identification was impossible. Gunness herself vanished in the chaos, igniting decades of rumors that she escaped under a new identity. The case laid bare the gaping holes in rural insurance protocols and small-town policing, while sensational newspaper coverage dubbed her America's Devil's Farmgirl. Today, thrill-seekers visit the overgrown Devil's Playground, where her farmhouse once stood, still shrouded in mystery. Number 8, Irma Grese. Irma Grese was born in 1923 East Prussia, and at just 17, joined the SS as a wardress at Auschwitz-Birkenau. Her youthful appearance masked a brutal zeal. Survivors recount her selecting prisoners for the gas chambers, whipping inmates, and stealing their belongings. Transferred to Bergen-Belsen, she became infamous for laughing as starving prisoners begged for scraps. After liberation, British troops documented her crimes through survivor testimonies and camp footage. At the Belsen war crimes trial in late 1945, she showed no remorse, claiming she merely followed orders, then was condemned to death. At age 22, she was hanged in December 1945, one of the few women executed for Nazi atrocities. Psychologists later studied her as a case of ideological indoctrination overriding basic humanity, and museums now display her uniform and trial transcripts as stark warnings of obedience gone mad. Number 7, Juana Barraza. Juana Barraza, born in 1957 Mexico City to an abusive mother, found temporary escape in lucha libre wrestling before spiraling into violence. Between 2000 and 2005, she targeted elderly women, her La Mataviejitas victims, strangling at least 16 and dumping bodies in trash bags across the city. For years, forensic teams struggled to link the seemingly random murders until fingerprint-laden skull fragments and facial reconstruction skull molds tied them together. Arrested in 2006 while attempting to steal from a pensioner, Barraza confessed without remorse, claiming revenge for her own mother's abuse. Psychiatrists diagnosed her with antisocial personality disorder and deep psychotic traits. Sentenced in 2008 to 759 years, the longest in Mexican history for a single defendant, she remains incarcerated. Her case highlights systemic failures, social safety nets, elder care oversight, and early intervention in trauma survivors. Documentaries and crime thriller books continue to dissect how childhood horror can metastasize into adult atrocities. Number 6, Dorothea Puente. Dorothea Puente was born in 1929 Redlands, California, and after early stints in prison for fraud, she opened a boarding house in Sacramento in the 1980s. Posing as a benevolent caregiver to the elderly and mentally disabled, she took ownership of their Social Security checks before drugging and murdering them. In 1988, neighbors reported foul odors, leading police to exhume 7 bodies buried beneath her manicured front yard, alongside a trove of stolen checks. 2 more skeletons inside the house revealed the full extent of her crimes. During her trial, Puente's nurturing courtroom demeanor stunned jurors, who ultimately convicted her of 3 murders and 2 counts of fraud. She received life without parole and died in prison in 2011. Her case prompted sweeping reforms, mandatory background checks for caregivers, and stricter oversight of adult care facilities. Documentaries and true crime memoirs explore how greed and false compassion can mask the darkest betrayals of trust. Number 5, Karla Homolka. Karla Homolka, born in 1970 Port Credit, Ontario, seemed a typical suburban teen until she met Paul Bernardo, the Scarborough rapist. Together, they kidnapped, tortured, and murdered Homolka's own sister Tammy in 1990, then 2 other teenage girls, all while filming the atrocities. In 1993, she struck a controversial plea deal, testimony in exchange for 12 years, painting herself as a coerced victim. When the hidden videotapes emerged, showing her active participation and gleeful direction, public outrage erupted. Bernardo received life without parole. Homolka served her full term and upon release in 2005, vanished under a new identity. Psychologists cite her manipulative charm and lack of remorse as classic psychopathic traits. The case spurred Canada's evidence disclosure reforms, ensuring no more devil's deals at the expense of victims' rights. True crime series and books continue debating whether she paid the price her crimes deserved. Homolka remains one of Canada's most polarizing figures, her story a cautionary tale of legal loopholes and human evil. Number 4, Myra Hindley. Myra Hindley was born in 1942, Manchester, England, and fell under the sway of Ian Brady in the early 1960s, forming a partnership of chilling cruelty. Between 1963 and 1965, they lured 5 children into Brady's car with promises of treats, then murdered them on desolate Saddleworth Moor, Hindley often filming the acts. Investigations stalled until incriminating photographs surfaced in her home, triggering arrests in October 1965. At trial, she claimed she was coerced by Brady, but overwhelming evidence of her active role earned her a life sentence. Her refusal to reveal the location of Keith Bennett's body prolonged his family's agony for decades. Brady later admitted to additional killings, yet Hindley remained largely uncooperative, dying in prison in 2002. Her chilling laughter on police tapes and the stark moorland landscapes have become grim symbols in British criminal lore. The Moors murders sparked changes in child protection measures and police procedures for missing children. Hindley's case remains a study in how love can be perverted into a partnership of evil. Number 3, Aileen Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos was born in 1956 Rochester, Michigan, and endured a childhood marked by abandonment, foster care turmoil, and early sexual abuse. By her mid-teens, she turned to survival sex work along Florida's coastal highways, a world fraught with danger. Between 1989 and 1990, she fatally shot 7 men, claiming self-defense against sexual assault attempts, earning monikers like Damsel of Death. Investigators mapped her victims along Highway A1A and used ballistic forensics to link the shootings. A 1991 televised interview humanized her trauma, but prosecutors countered with evidence of premeditation and stalking. Convicted of 6 murders in 1992, Wuornos received the death penalty, becoming one of Florida's few executed women when she died by lethal injection in October 2002. Her final interviews ignited debates on battered woman syndrome, mental health care, and capital punishment. The film Monster and numerous documentaries have revisited her life, fueling discussions on systemic failures, family breakdown, lack of social support, and the dangers faced by marginalized women. Criminologists still study her case to understand how chronic abuse can erupt into lethal violence. Number 2, Leonarda Cianciulli. Leonarda Cianciulli was born in 1894 Montella, Italy, into a superstitious family that shaped her belief in prophetic dreams. After marrying and bearing 3 sons, she became convinced that human sacrifice would shield them from harm. From 1939 to 1940, she lured 3 elderly women into her home under the guise of fortune-telling, then slit their throats with ritual precision. She desecrated their bodies, boiling flesh into soap and rendering fat into cakes she served to neighbors, believing these relics would safeguard her children. Neighbors reported foul stenches and strange butcher shop deliveries, prompting a late 1940 police search of her kitchen and garden. Authorities uncovered human bones buried in pits and dozens of personal effects from unknown victims. At her 1946 trial, Cianciulli calmly defended her actions as maternal sacrifice born of love and fear. Psychiatrists diagnosed her with folie à plusieurs, noting how her delusions spread to her household. Declared insane, she spent the rest of her life in a high-security mental asylum, dying in 1970. Her case led Italy to tighten mental health evaluations in criminal trials and remains a grim example of superstition-driven homicide. Number 1, Elizabeth Báthory. Elizabeth Báthory was born in 1560 to one of Hungary's most powerful noble families and married Count Ferenc Nadasdy at age 15. As rumors of her cruelty spread, servant girl disappearances, blood-stained chambers, myths grew that she bathed in virgin blood to preserve youth. Between 1602 and 1610, an official commission took testimony from over 80 witnesses and discovered some 300 skeletal remains in hidden pits around Kekti's castle. While political rivals likely exaggerated parts of the legend to seize her estates, the investigation uncovered evidence of torture, red-hot pokers, nail-pulling, and forced starvation. To avoid public scandal, King Matthias II confined her to her castle room until her death in 1614, forbidding a formal trial. Posthumous pamphlets and folklore blurred the line between fact and fiction, casting her as the ultimate aristocratic monster. Modern archaeologists have since located burial sites, though victim counts remain disputed. Artifacts, torture instruments, correspondences now reside in museum exhibits, fueling ongoing debate over noble power struggles versus genuine atrocity. Whether myth or murderous, Báthory's legacy endures as history's most infamous blood countess, embodying the intersection of gender, power, and the construction of evil. These 10 women prove evil doesn't wear a single face. Which case shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this countdown, hit subscribe and ring the bell, so you never miss a deep dive into crime's darkest corners. Thanks for watching Crime Scene Rundown. See you next time.